Hey guys, just wanted to do my review of Supergirl, Season 2, Episode 12, Luthors. So, this episode focuses on how Lillian Luthor's on trial for her actions as the head of Katniss, the terrorist organization, and her actions in the mid-season finale last December. She's on trial, and Metallo, who's basically in prison, is given an envelope in his cell which contains synthetic kryptonite, which he plants on himself when he's asked to testify on Lillian Luthor's behalf, and he goes on this rant about how he believes in her cause and he was trying to save the Earth from aliens, and uses the kryptonite in his chest to basically assault everybody in the courtroom and help Lillian Luthor escape. Even though Supergirl tries to chase after her, Metallo attacks a crane and causes it to fall on top of a group of people, which forces Supergirl's hand and to go save them. And the problem is that even though there's video evidence of Lena Luthor grabbing synthetic kryptonite and providing it to Metallo from out of her, I guess, like desk drawer, and she was like the last person seen visiting Lillian Luthor. And while she was visiting Lillian Luthor, she did reveal that even though she was adopted, she is actually Lex's half sister, with Lionel being the biological father and a woman that Lionel was sleeping with being her biological mother. So, and Lillian tries to say that, I'm your mother. And that I was only just focusing on Lex because Lionel found it too painful for me being so affectionate with you, and a reminder of his infidelity. I mean, you would think that it was kind of it's kind of ambiguous as to whether or not she's saying that to manipulate her, but basically, Maggie's the one that ends up arresting Lena because being that she was the only person to visit the jail cell the night before the breakout, and the video footage of her taking getting the kryptonite, even though she denies denies being the one that grabbed the kryptonite. And of course, Carr, looking for the best in people, is the only one who believes that she's innocent, when everybody from her co-workers at Catco, Snapper Carr, and James Olsen, to people at the DEO, believing that she was guilty, and that insult to injury, Metallo is sent by Lillian to break Lena out of prison, and even though James, as the Guardian, tries to stop the breakout, he's ultimately defeated, and Metallo breaks Lena out of prison, and Lillian tries to convince Lena that she's only doing this in her best interest, and that they're fugitives on the run, and that she can help her, and she doesn't have a life to go back to, and becoming part of Katniss, they can become part of something greater. But then it's not until Wynn gets direct access to the video footage that he realizes that the footage was doctored by Hank Henshaw / Cyborg Superman, and superimposed Lena Luthor's image onto himself, and it was him that got the kryptonite to Metallo in order to help with the breakout, and that he also meets them at a bunker in the mountains in which they Lex Luthor hid some of his old equipment, which includes the Black Mercy, an atomic axe, and his war suit, which is known for being seen in the comics during his fight with Superman. And it turns out the only reason why they broke Lena out of prison was because they needed her handprint to access the arsenal. And Supergirl ends up flying to her rescue, but they realize that Metallo's he's not really wearing real kryptonite. It's only a synthetic kryptonite, which is incredibly unstable. The more he uses it, the more it causes him to go critical and was more likely to blow up. But Lillian, being the selfish person that she is, it's why she and Hank Henshaw, because Lena rejects Lillian, saying that she'll take her chances in jail, and rejects Lillian that they both leave her, Supergirl, and Metallo to die when the Kryptonite's about to go critical. And Alex and Winter keep trying to get her to, get Lena and get out of there, but she, being who she is, she keeps trying to reason with Metallo and trying to save his life. And me personally, I'm the one thinking, I know this is into their nature, but somebody like Kara and Clark to try to be like the better person and try to, honor before reason. But I'm the one that just says, thinking to myself, he's a monster. He doesn't give a fuck about you. Leave him to die. Leave Hank Henshaw to die. Leave Lillian to die. Get Lena and get the fuck out of there. And that's the reason why I just kind of feel like I just don't know. And which is why I'm kind of glad that at least Martian Manhunter shows up to help subdue Metallo and help get Lena and Supergirl out of there before he blows up and creates this giant mushroom cloud that destroys the entire bunker. But if they find out that Hank Henshaw and Lillian escaped on a helicopter, are now on the run, so apparently they're going to become, I guess, recurring villains for the season. And I mean, it doesn't really reinvent the wheel in terms of this kind of storyline. I mean, it plays out as predictably as you would expect it to. I guess the biggest arcs are just Kara being really mad at Jimmy because of the fact that he feels like, he talks about how, Superman and Lex Luthor used to be best friends until they became arch enemies, and Superman wanted to see the good in Lex, even when there was overwhelming evidence that he was evil and doing bad, which may or may not be a nod to their relationship on Smallville. And but it ends with Jimmy apologizing to Kara about trying to be overprotective and being overprotective and doubting her, and they decided they just want to go back to being friends and stop overprotecting one another. Basically, Lena's happy that Kara was the one who was always there for her and always stood up for her and was, for quote unquote, sending Supergirl to her rescue and calling Kara her hero. But then when she's looking at a chessboard, there's a flashback to when she beats Lex in a game of chess. And it's kind of a little bit on the nose to the point where it's unintentionally hilarious, where she says, I like this game. Which makes you kind of wonder, how to read into that scene. Is she conflicted? Is she going to be like Lex Luthor in the early seasons of Smallville, where she's conflicted about whether or not can I be more than a product of my upbringing? Or is it kind of foreshadowing that she's going to be some kind of master manipulator on some extent? And I don't know. I know Lena Luthor was never really evil in the comics, and basically on the Smallville show she ended up she was evil briefly, but then redeemed herself. But you can't help but wonder how it's going to play out here and what the motives are going to be for if or when she turns evil. Then, of course, Supergirl runs into Miss Tessmacher talking about how her date with Mon-El at the end of the last episode didn't go well because all he did was keep talking about her feelings for Kara, which leads to them at the end of the episode, meeting up at her apartment, and Kara finally declares his feelings for Mon-El, and just when they're about to kiss, they have this sudden appearance from Mr. Mxyzptlk, who's known as the imp looking magical being from the fifth dimension and one of Superman's enemies, except he looks like a normal human being here, but he just shows up out of nowhere without any kind of foreshadowing or setup, and all of a sudden declares her love for Supergirl, which is supposed to set up for all the antics in the next episode. So, overall, pretty entertaining episode. Can't really complain. There's not too much wrong with it other than, it's more plot driven than, character driven. But it was so unpredictable, but I had fun with it. I mean, like, like I said, it's not a horrible. Like I said, good episode, predictable but still entertaining, and it's kind of cool that she has like I don't know. Maybe there's a part of me that feels like it's kind of cool that that they're kind of flipping the script in which a Superman character has a Luthor as an ally, in the same sense that Clark had Tess Mercer or Tessa Luthor as an ally towards the end of Smallville. So what do you guys think of the episode? Do you think Lena's going to become evil? Do you want her to become evil? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.